Hello and welcome to another video with the Elecraft KX2. Today we're listening to a noisy 40-meter band. I'm in South Korea and we're listening to some Japan signals, JA signals. You can see the S meter is bouncing around to about S5.5 to S6 at the moment. That's pretty noisy. I have a lot of lights and electrical items here in Central Seoul that get in my way, and the KX2 actually handles noise quite well. It's much better at it than my Fox Tango 950 from Yaesu, and I'm always impressed by this little radio and the ability to handle noise at the front end. Now, some things you can do to take care of the noise. Of course, there's the noise reduction. That's one of the first things that people try. Let me hold this down, and you'll notice you have the choice between 0 and 10. Anything above 1 or 2 for me is pretty much useless, and I don't use noise reduction much on the KX2 because it drops the signal levels so much. So if I use it at all, I might use it on 0, 1, or 2, and it's the last thing I will apply, but there it is. Also, you have the filter adjustments, and you can reduce the bandwidth or raise it up to as high as 4.0, very, very wide. But I like keeping it at around 2.4 to 2.6 or so, depending on what's close. Maybe moving it over to the left a little bit, and I'll just leave it right there. Okay, now, noise reduction still on. I'll take it off. I don't like it. Next, what's really useful on 40 meters, I like to attenuate the signal. Now let me go ahead and do that. If I push this button, ATT comes on, that's the attenuator, and the signal goes away. However, if you jack the volume way up, there he is. And this may or may not work depending on the signal, depending on the band that day. I'll adjust the volume a little bit, and let's just leave it up for now. But what I like to do next is, I have set my PFN button up to automatically use menu item RF gain. And if you drop the RF gain a little bit, once your volume's up all the way, you can use the RF gain as your volume control. And you hear the signals popping out there. You can raise the volume up with the RF gain, or cut some of that hiss out a little bit to make the signal at a level that you think is more useful. I find about -5 is good, but I know from experience recording videos, it sounds better to be around -2. We'll keep it there for now. Okay, now this is another feature that people don't often get into or don't know about with the KX2. However, it's great. You can get to a menu item called Receive EQ, and you can see the menu here. If you go to RX EQ, you have an equalizer line here. This is very similar in a way to Yaesu radios. Yaesu radios, which have they have peaks, and you can change the contouring. You can almost think of this as a Yaesu contour in a way, except you have a lot more power and control over what's going on. And I'm going to go ahead and show you that there's a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, those numbers all correspond to these different dashes on the line up here. Level 8, number 8 and number 9 aren't really for anything, but 7 starts with the very high end of that. Now let me move that up, or move that down. And what I like to do when I'm working with the EQ is I take the highest end of the signal and I cut it down as far as possible. I go to the lowest, which is 0 over here, by pushing that in, and I drop that down to 15, -15. That's -16, and I drop the next level down all the way. And this is especially noticeable with headphones because obviously the speaker only has a certain dynamic range, right? Okay, now then I will get into 6 and tweak. And by the way, let me go back out here and find another signal. You can really notice how this works. And typical of Asia here, and it might be the same in the United States, people will generally sit and the whole band will be open, but everybody will congregate within a very short area, and that's very annoying, right? Okay, here we go. Going back to the EQ, and I can pop in and out and tweak different parts of the EQ to make someone really pop out in sound. And I find that these two really help pop out the person more than anything else once I've dropped down some of the others, okay? So I've done that. I've made it kind of hot, and once you make it really hot like that, it's useful then to go back into the RF gain and drop it down. And his signal's really popping out now, out of that noise. And then you can go into the EQ again. You find that, receive EQ, there we are. And again, you can tweak around, get rid of some more hiss. And there we go. So, there he's popping out there. Sounding pretty good. So those are some audio tweaks. Again, you can also get in then at the end and get into the noise reduction. And I don't like that so much, but it will take out even more hiss. So those are some of the things that you can do to tweak the audio with the KX2. Very useful. And I'll just go around the band here, pick up a signal. There's somebody. Very, very low in the noise. And you can hear that signal buried down into the noise. So have fun tweaking around. There are a variety of things you can do. Some may work for you, some may not. However, I find that working with the attenuator, RF gain, and EQ really help pop signals out that wouldn't otherwise be there. And I'll make a quick mention too that on 20 meters and 15 meters, for example, you might want to actually pop in the preamp and then use your attenuator to drop the signal down. Sorry, not your attenuator, but use your RF gain to drop the signal down even more after you've used the preamp. It really depends on the signal, but you can play around, give that a try. It's a lot of fun. So enjoy the Elecraft KX2.